Hello.
There.
Hey,
Hello.
Darwin. It's so good to see you. Warm and toasty, Crystal. Do you want to share anything with us?
I can't hear you. Say it again.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay. I have on my Meta glasses.
Oh, those are cute
She's
too.
she's grown. She's grown. Whenever I make
Wow.
whenever I make these adult purchases, I'm like, oh my gosh, do I really need them? But these are a gift, so I don't feel as bad.
That's really cool. So can you like
Thanks,
see
darling.
in the future? I don't know. What do you
I
see?
can't. I go to virtual church. I go to virtual sessions right now. This is not even Lachey. This is AI.
Okay, girl.
You don't
You
even know
ready
if this
now?
is me. You don't even know if this is me, Crystal. How do you
This
know
is
this is me?
AI.
This
This
is
is
AI.
AI.
I'm
That is
not really in this meeting.
hilarious.
I'm in the meeting, but I'm not in the meeting, right? I'm virtually here. So
That is so cool.
it is cool. They're cute. All right, we got some nice folks on the line. Let's see. We got I am Sophia. Hi, Sophia or Sophia. Thanks for joining us. We have Carolyn. Help yourself today. Hey, hey. Some other folks there. Come on in. Come on in. So, Crystal, you look nice and toasty.
Toasty adult shorts. Short sleeves. I'm just wearing fall colors though, because it is fall. You
It
look
is
nice and
fall.
toasty wrapped up in a blanket
Thanks.
over there. Nice and warm.
I am warm. I mean, your color. You look warm.
Oh, thank you.
You look sun-kissed.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So tell me how you're doing, darling, and how you took care of yourself this week.
I was in Colombia, Cartagena, and so I took care of myself by doing some traveling and with some friends and learned a lot about history in Colombia and a lot of education, a lot of experiences down there. So I'm back. I'm glad to be back on U.S. soil and safe and covered, thank God. So all is
Yeah.
well. I'm back to ready. I feel a little bit recharged and ready to get back to work,
Okay.
but it was a lot going on. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're here, darling. It's good to see you. Hi, Dr. B. Dr. B is on. Welcome.
hello, hello.
Yeah, it's good. Well, good. You're here. You had a great time. That's good. And you're back.
Mhm.
And we're happy you're back on your soil because
Thank you.
you need to be here. We can't do without you. So let's see.
What
How did I
about you?
Yeah, how did I take care of myself? I put myself on a chopping block. I advocated for myself in multiple ways this week.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes as therapists, we obviously teach and preach this, and it
Hmm.
is highly important. Like part of our role is helping and supporting other people to help and support themselves. And especially
Hmm.
coming from a social work background, it is a major deal to
Hmm.
advocate for yourself and take care of yourself in these ways. And so I made sure to do that. And it felt empowering. It felt hard. It felt
Hmm.
challenging, but it felt necessary.
Hmm.
And I'm proud of that. So that's an
Good.
update for me. Yeah.
I'm glad you stood up for yourself. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Really
It's
advocating for
important.
you.
Yes. It's also important too because of the work that we do. Like we're not exempt or immune from
Hmm.
having experiences or challenges. And so I
Hmm.
remind myself that part of why I can do the work that I do with the clients that I serve from a free place is because
Hmm.
I myself am free. If I was caught
Hmm.
up or in bondage or hindered or was
Hmm.
not doing my work, not just in session. When we're talking about doing your work, it's not most of the work you do is going to be outside of session, right? But
Truly.
if I was not doing my work, I couldn't be free to support the people that I do, and that's a
Hmm.
problem, right?
Hmm.
And then that's how you become a non-intentional hypocrite, right? Or you have these
Yeah.
areas. So it's important to, yeah, to do the work that we do.
Yeah. Which kind of draws into today's topic, which
Hmm.
is balancing I call it balancing purpose and pay, to where, you know, oftentimes we choose this field because we want to help, we want to be able to be a support to people, but also we don't want to necessarily hustle. And like we didn't want to like, well, not saying that I say I didn't see myself going to this field to like grind, 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 go, go, go. Although you can, opportunities are everywhere for this
Sure.
for this in mental health, but
Hmm.
I see myself as being a business owner and a therapist, but not so much so, but where I can't function and live a good life. Sometimes when I was in school, I was taught that, mental health isn't always paid that well. Sometimes, the money isn't always there. And We do it because we love it. We're passionate about it. But I believe that passion and prosperity can exist in both ways. So there's no need to just be
Mhm.
passionate and be poor. That's not necessary. The lifestyle that I want to adhere to. But I do
Mhm.
want to also do purpose driven work, which is why I chose to get in this
Mhm.
field. And this month is actually small business. Oh, it's small business women. It's National Women and Small Business Awareness Month, and so
Mhm.
both of us are actually women owned businesses, and we're small for now. And
Mhm.
our topic today is kind of around that, like how our passion and our purpose and our money can all cross together in mental health. And we can really have fulfilling lives that are aligned with our
Mhm.
purpose and also be paid and paid very well in that. So,
Absolutely.
because it does deserve pay, but what we're doing is, safe. It is good work.
Mhm.
But people sometimes, well, starting out early in the field, I know I did a lot of undercharging and people pleasing skill or things I learned early on that were not helpful for me, my business wise. Purpose wise, I loved it,
Mm.
great. But business wise, I'm missing out on a check. Not on the table because I
Mhm.
decided to give an hour and a half long session here or decided to go above and beyond my call because I'm
Mm.
passionate about what I do. But that's necessarily, I have to learn boundaries between that. Like, hey, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can be
Mhm.
the social worker, the therapist, even I was a chauffeur.
Right.
I used to drive clients around. Now that was in a different role. I wasn't a therapist only. I was a therapist slash team lead. I was doing a lot of roles, but I would have a
Sure.
session and drive the client was a child to school. I'm like, why am I doing this? This is part of therapy. But in that
Mhm.
position, it was. But I'm like, hindsight, I should have been charging them gas money. I should have been charging, car talk therapy
Everything right.
sessions. It was definitely
Right.
a different kind of position that I was in. But still, I was like, I'm not doing that no more. I want to make sure
Mhm.
the work I do is aligned with my purpose and my passion, and I'm paid very well for it.
Yeah.
Very well.
Absolutely. Were you doing DDT?
I was doing it was a family therapy approach. So it was me and a team
Oh.
of people. So I was a team lead and I had two people helping me out. And so the child was with me on certain days. And that would include
Oh.
sometimes going to the school or going to the library. And they were allowed to be in my car, but they signed a waiver. And I'm just like, hindsight, okay, I
Mhm.
guess I know why it was helpful. But at the same time, no, that's a hazard. That should not have been
It's a
happening.
hazard. It's a lot of work, right? And
Yeah.
to your point, that is something very important about doing what we're called to do. Like some of the complaints that I often hear from other therapists is the paperwork.
Hmm.
Keeping up with the paperwork, right? We might not be as gifted in the paperwork. We're
Hmm.
gifted in serving. We all have different gifts, right? The Bible says that we
Hmm.
have some have the gift of administration,
Hmm.
some have the gift of teaching, preaching, right? Like we have different gifts. And so
Hmm.
it's so important that as therapists, you lean on what you're gifted in and you leave the
Hmm.
rest to somebody else, even if you have to pay someone else to do that, right?
Hmm.
And so I agree that when it comes to pay or it comes to profit or passion, that passion will always win, but you can't take passion to the bank.
Right. Hmm.
So, what do you think about the person who has the calling and they desire to do things that are purposeful,
Hmm.
yet they don't have the same administration skills? You can go to med school and they teach you how to be doctors, but they don't teach you how to start a private practice.
Right.
You can go to study to become a therapist,
Hmm.
but there's no classes on entrepreneurship and therapy. I am a professor and I teach that to my students, but
Hmm.
that's not the norm. That's just happening in my class or whatever other
Hmm.
classes, but it's not the norm. So what do people do when they're in this situation? And you have more and more folks coming out of schools for therapy,
Hmm.
in this case, we're talking about therapist schools,
Hmm.
MFT, social work, psychology, whatever, and they're
Hmm.
ready to start private practices.
Right. And sometimes it's not always legal. Depending on your state, there's legally you can't do it so much. Some states allow people who are associate licensed to have practices, and some states don't. But really knowing the laws of your state is really
Mm-hmm.
priority. I'll say for me, in my experiences, I knew going into school that I wanted to be in my own business, whether it was private practice. I just knew that I had that was always my end goal. But also,
Mm-hmm.
I have a background. My undergrad degree is in business. So I had the foundational
Mm-hmm.
knowledge of accounting,
Right.
finance, marketing,
You thought about
HR.
that
I had
beforehand.
that. I mean, that wasn't my intention. I got this undergrad, but I saw how it all came together in the end. But for my colleagues who didn't have that exposure, they're just like, so what do we start? I'm like, and they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of just out here fumbling through and learning through trial and error. And I think that happens is important to have community because that's how you know that you are undercharging. Because I had a colleague who was charging way
Mm-hmm.
below market rate because in her mind that was a good deal. But I'm like, well, it's a good deal for who? For the client or for you? Because in the day
Mm-hmm.
you're in the red now because you saw X clients at this rate and now you can't pay your bills. And you should have charged
Yeah,
a
and
higher
then
rate. But in their mind, they can afford it. But then unfortunately they're not the therapist, they're not the client for you. So it's like
right,
really having
right.
that boundary of
Or the
like you have to
season.
live well too, and you have to be able to charge your way because that also goes down to like knowing your worth as a therapist, like
Yes.
your education, your experience, your hours, the money you pay for this degree.
Mm-hmm.
It should align with what you're charging for your sessions.
But did she know her worth and was she worth it?
That's a good point too.
You see, because when you know you worth it, now some of us just don't know our worth, and that's just true. That's going to be across
Mhm.
the board. But sometimes people aren't worth it.
Mm, that's a
And
good
that's not up to
point.
me to decide, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
up to them and them to and those therapists to look at their clientele, who they're serving, why they're
Mm-hmm.
serving, the skills that they're bringing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will add this component, and I say this both leisurely, I mean, I say this in a more relaxed way, and I say this in a more formalized way, is that everyone charging a high rate does not mean that they're worth that rate. But everyone charging a low
That's
rate doesn't mean that they're worth that rate either.
mm-hmm.
Now that's up to you, the client, to decide because some people will go see a therapist because they see them online or they're good at marketing.
Mm-hmm. That's
They're
true.
good at influencing and creating a narrative and a storyline. Now there
Mm-hmm.
might be another therapist that's good at doing therapy, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not as good as at marketing. They're not as good as creating storylines.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't encourage this process for the sake of just having having a process that's systematic to you like it would be for
Mm-hmm.
everyone else. This goes back to knowing your role. Posture and
Mm-hmm.
position are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Posture is the purpose, the things that are filled in your heart. Your position is where you align yourself at different times. If you're in
Mm-hmm.
battle and you're in war, you take on different positions. Defense, offense, you strike, there's different parts to you, there's different positions and roles that you may play. But
Mm-hmm.
your posture, if your posture is always for justice, right? Let's say it's just war. Your posture
Mm-hmm.
is always for justice, then you'll move according to that. And so I think it's important to really know the difference when you're going into therapy and you thinking about profit and you're thinking about purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are times that I believe that you could be someone who's called to purpose in this, and you just need to access help and resources to understand your profit.
Mm-hmm.
Some people understand the profit, but they don't understand the
Mm-hmm.
purpose. I have a harder time with that.
Mm. Well, hard time with what? Understanding the
A
profit?
harder time with the person who understands the profit but does not understand the purpose.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I have a harder time with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to be careful judging that because
Mm-hmm.
maybe they do have purpose somewhere in that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. We wouldn't know unless we talked to them directly, but I definitely agree with that. Like in our school, in our educational background for mental health professionals, there's not like a section on entrepreneurship, profit. It's not discussed. It's just it's just here are the tools. Here are
Mhm.
the concepts. Here's the history. Here's how to apply it. Here's the challenges, and then go
Mhm.
forth and be great. And especially being a woman in business, sometimes we often are looked at as the helpers and like, oh, so just give
Mhm.
them whatever, and
Mhm.
money is like not a big deal because it's just
It's not supposed to be, right?
yeah.
It's
And
not supposed to be a big deal, right?
even though
But
now I got some numbers on it, there 40, out of all U.S. businesses, 40% of them are owned by women in the United States, and yet we still
mm.
have the pay gaps, the funding inequities, and burnout because we are often
Mhm.
working twice as hard sometimes for half as much, and
Mhm.
so it's like we have all this large number, well, in business wise, of but we have not like a lot of like support sometimes, and the money sometimes is funny because, oh, she's
Mm-hmm.
fine, she doesn't need that much money. And then,
Mm-hmm.
God forbid we want to have a family and have children and get pregnant and can't
Mm-hmm.
do our job, then all of a sudden we're in a bigger pay gap because you're missing the
Right.
working years for a while. So it's like really when it comes to building a business in mental health, thinking about is this business feeding me or is it draining me? In the
Mm.
beginning, when my first couple years, it was feeding me because I was like, okay, this is new, this is fun, this is exciting. But now
Mm-hmm.
5 years in, I'm like, okay, what's next? I want to grow, I want to evolve from this space
Mm-hmm.
because it can be draining to the point because I
Mm-hmm.
was operating as the primary employee as well as the owner,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm getting more of that role of therapist and more of the role of a CEO. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay, you can do more, you can do these
Mm-hmm.
things. And so really, really clarifying what that is for me because I deserve abundance and an abundant
You deserve
life.
abundance. Yeah. And there's this huge component of this, Crystal, that matters so much that we don't talk enough about this.
Mm,
But I can do what I do joyfully when I'm
yes.
paid in accordance to the
Mm-hmm.
value that I offer.
Mm-hmm.
I take delight in offering customer service. I take delight in extending myself
Mm-hmm.
because I feel compensated accordingly. I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
skim, get over, like cut the session off exactly at 45 after. I
Mm-hmm.
can start. Of course, it's our responsibility to be responsible with the time. It is not the clients per se, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I can say, I can start wrapping up with a little leisure time if I need to, if I want to, if I feel the
Mm-hmm.
client needs it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I feel compensated accordingly. We don't talk about that enough, but when you don't feel compensated accordingly, your
Mm-hmm.
attitude, your mood, the way you engage the client will be reflected in that.
Yeah, it will. Because you'll show up
Or you
drained
feel
and tired.
resentful.
Yeah, like as I'm working extra hard, I'm getting half the pay or whatever. It's like, that's not fair. It's not
It's not
fair.
fair, and those are human emotions. I'm not even trying to make them fair.
Yeah.
If that's how you feel, that's telling you something. Listen to those feelings. I worked with
Mm-hmm.
someone who, I'm going to mix up some details because we never share client information. But I worked
Mm-hmm.
with someone who, after a time period, I did not feel called to work with this person in this capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And the person was not having it.
Mm-hmm.
They did not, they felt entitled to my time and they felt entitled to working with me. And
Mm-hmm.
informed them that I am not a community based health center.
Mm-hmm.
I actually can be judicial
Mm-hmm.
in the clients that I choose. And based on the needs,
Mm-hmm.
I've brought you to the point, I've helped support you to the point where you are, and I can't help support you anymore based on some of the decisions that you're making and choosing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in social work, there are certain reasons why you can and cannot work with the client anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
that client, one of the reasons was, in this case, the client had reached the goals that we
Okay.
had set out. Now you can add new goals, but we
Mm-hmm.
have to agree on those goals and that those are goals that I can support you with. And I could
Mm-hmm.
not support them with those new goals.
Okay.
Okay. The
So
client was
when
not
you,
happy about it.
Mhm.
The client was not happy about it.
Yeah, I was going to ask. I'm pretty sure he did not like that answer, but like, or he or she,
He or she, we gonna
yeah,
say
he or
she.
she. Um, but you did what's best for you.
I had to
You
do
put
what's best for you
yourself and your
because,
needs first.
well, and what would happen is I can't serve you from a pure place.
Yep, exactly.
Again, this
Mm-hmm.
goes back to position and posture.
Mm-hmm.
The posture of my heart toward that person, I couldn't offer them,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah,
I had to be honest about that.
yeah. And I'm
Now I'm
wondering, like,
positioned to do the work, but the
mm-hmm.
posture isn't there, and that's important.
And that's also think about that's I guess a privilege of being in your own business and your own boss. You can
Mm-hmm.
choose to work with because if you were in a place, a community-based center or any other agency where you weren't in charge, you kind of have to be almost forced to work with someone that wasn't aligning in that way. And then I'm wondering how that affect how that would affect you to show up as
Mm-hmm.
a therapist because like this is the kind I want. It's not my ideal client. It's not something that I am comfortable working with. But yeah, because I work in
Mm-hmm.
this environment. I have to adhere to their rules and their policies and see this
Mm-hmm.
through. So that's really why I think I got into being in mental health on my own. So I like to having
Mm.
that freedom and that choice to kind of see to work with those who I choose to work with, and vice versa, who
Mm-hmm.
want to work with me. Because being on the other
Mm-hmm.
side of it, where it's like you get what you get, and you know who you gonna get is just pushed to you. It's not always fun. There's always a line.
I didn't mind that in the early stages as an intern or working in a community-based center where
Mm-hmm.
you have a different type of support
Yeah.
and resources,
Mm-hmm.
and your training. It's a good
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you don't have those same resources in private practice. You can't just immediate. You don't always have an immediate psychiatrist on file. You can't
Mm-hmm.
always take a session and immediately you can call someone to come in and intervene if something happens. I've
Yeah.
had folks in session, so I don't have those same resources, so I have to be particular, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I decided that I would not see male clients past a certain time, that I
Mm-hmm.
would only accept male clients because I'm in the office by myself at this point. This is when I had an in-person practice. I would
Mm-hmm.
only see male clients at a point where my neighbors are home,
Mm-hmm.
right? The neighbors came to
Mm-hmm.
practice, right? So I had rules. I had ways in which I governed myself. I didn't have the same
Mm-hmm.
resources. But when I was in a community clinic, I could take a lot of different type of people. It wasn't as big of a deal. And I wanted to learn and grow in that way. And what that
Mm-hmm.
helped me do was distinguish between the clients that I felt equipped to serve and the clients that
Mm-hmm.
I do not feel equipped to serve. And
Gotcha.
as you know, you get a lot of people reach out for all kinds of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not equipped to help some folks with some things.
Right.
Some things I am, right? Regardless of
Mm-hmm.
religion, background. I currently have clients who are different religious backgrounds, ethnicities, life choices,
Mm-hmm.
experiences, and that's wonderful. And I love serving all of them,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Uh, Yeah, but in the beginning, I think it helps give you that experience, the exposure. So you got to know that
Yes.
it's too much. That's not enough. It's not right now.
Yeah.
But now
Yeah.
I think we're both seasoned therapists. We've been in this game
Yes.
for a minute, so we have kind of we understand our not only ideal client, but the client that wants to work
That's
with
it.
us as
Ideal
well.
client. Yeah.
Because when it's equal and it's aligned, the work works. When we're
Yes.
struggling to get communication, we're pulling teeth to get words out. It makes a little more difficult for us. But if the client doesn't want to
Yeah.
be there, then it's like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah. You said something so key, Crystal, the ideal client.
Hmm.
Even as I've had a few therapists over the years, they were ideal in certain seasons, and certain seasons they weren't.
Mm.
And so it's okay, even as a therapist, to change your dimensions, your
Hmm.
position
Yep.
as a therapist. If this is no, we've talked about that. Like, I am now very big about serving students and interns. I love it. I love teaching. I love working with students, interns, and
Hmm.
being able to help equip the next generation of social workers. That's
Hmm.
important to me.
Hmm.
Right now, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that wasn't so much on my mind. I was
Yeah.
outside, hustling, getting it, working on doing this, doing DBT. I've gone places with clients. DBT is still one of the modalities I enjoy.
Really?
Yeah, I
That's what
love
I did
DBT.
not
I
like. I
love DBT.
strongly dislike DBT and
Oh,
the
really? I
DBT
love it. Oh,
clients.
I love it
It's my
because you
least
get to
favorite.
be in the trenches with people
Mm.
in a very practical way
Hmm.
with the proper resources. When you're at
Hmm.
community centers, it's actually harder to do DBT, right? Because you don't always have as much time, and depending on what the situation is, I've been able to travel with clients. That's been wonderful to help them with fears or phobias.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's been great. And it's a
Yeah,
whole
girl.
lot of stuff
See?
going outside in New York City.
Everybody
You'd be
has their
surprised what
lane.
people, everybody got their way. You'd be surprised what people need support with. So that's been a really interesting experience to be able to walk alongside people, but also to
Hmm.
explore some of the areas of where these traumas or phobias or issues come from, and then
Hmm.
doing a little exposure therapy, different aspects of that has been great.
Would you do it again in the season of
Yeah,
your life? You
yeah,
would?
I
Ah,
would. Yeah. It's a little harder with small children, but yeah, I would do it again. Yeah.
wow, that's
I
impressive.
really love DBT. I like behavior interventions in general.
Mm-hmm.
You see from a younger generation that they tend to need a lot more behavior interventions, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay with that. Life skill
Mm-hmm.
development, very practical steps on
Mm-hmm.
making decisions, decision making, all of that.
Right. That's
Hmm.
impressive. Go girl. Well, we all know our strengths, we know our lanes, and I stay in line. DBT is not for me. EMDR is my lane.
Yeah,
CBT is
you
for
love
me.
EMDR.
Solution focus is for me. But that
Hmm.
DBT world, I was just like, get me out.
Yeah, that's a process. And being okay that, DBT don't, just because the 45 minutes is up, I mean, a lot of times it's going over because
Mm-hmm.
I might literally be traveling somewhere with someone or doing something.
Mm-hmm.
But just because that time frame is up, you have to be okay that the issue or the challenge is not solved. Don't want to
Mm-hmm.
touch it. It can be ongoing. I've,
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen some people for DBT for years, and they've made
Wow.
strides, impressive strides. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
about, right now we have other things to address and tackle.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, what is one closing thought you would like to leave to the new entrepreneur, mental health professional? What advice would you leave with them to kind of encourage them on their journey?
get in supervision, pay for
Mm-hmm.
good supervision,
Mm-hmm.
train well, read well, stay up to date. You got to know what's going on in the world. That's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes hard. You want to protect your mind, but you got to know what's going on.
Yeah. I agree. Mine
Good
is similar.
supervision.
Is to get in community with therapists who are doing the work alongside. Especially when you're in business by yourself, it can
Hmm.
feel very isolating.
Yeah,
Especially
very lonely
if you
too,
work from
right?
home
Yeah.
in your own office, like all you see is the clients. Make sure, and I say daily, check in with someone who is not a client. Like check in
Yeah,
with your family,
right,
your
right,
friends.
right,
I
right.
remember early on when I first started out, I was definitely in the mode of like work, 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 and I didn't really make
Hmm.
time for friends early on. So I'm so focused. I'm so
Mm.
tunnel vision on building my business,
Oh, you're one
and I
of those,
realized that what I was
Crystal.
like, oh, I didn't make time for my friends today. I don't know what's going on in the world. I missed out on so much because I was just head down in the business. But
Mm.
make sure to make time for social, for friends,
Yes.
for people, and talk to people who aren't therapists, who aren't clients,
Hmm.
because that helps to also build your just social skills and not social skills, more so like staying like up to date on current events in
Yeah.
life.
Staying up to date and then like allowing people to enjoy you too.
Hmm.
To
And not always
be
being like in the
enjoyed and
mode of,
enjoy. Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Not,
Divinity's back. Hey, Divinity.
hi.
Yeah, allowing people to enjoy you, being present with people. Exactly.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Living life
Just
fully and not just
living life
in work
fully.
mode. Because I feel like in the beginning, it can be so easy to get caught up into like the building and the doing. And because it's so
Mm.
much to do, it never actually ends. The list actually gets
Yeah, it's
longer.
never not
It's
something
not
to
going to not,
do
you have to actually stop. Say, I'm going to stop
if
today at
you're
5 o'clock.
well. Right.
Well, if you're doing well, exactly.
Yeah.
So making time for just for life, for living, for
Hmm.
having fun, for pleasure, for
Right.
friends, for
Enjoying
community,
people. Right.
versus just being so much in the client mode and supervision and consultation, which is all good and dandy. But outside of
Hmm.
that, have a full life. Because if not, you will get consumed by it. Because like I
Hmm.
said, the work never actually stops. If you manage your own business, you are doing the marketing, the HR, the finance, the
Hmm.
accounting. All that comes down to you, and also seeing clients. And it's easy to
Hmm.
kind of be in your own bubble. But like, you know what? There's more to life. Get outside.
Yeah, there's more to life. Yeah. Part of this is what it looks like to trust God
Yeah,
in
exactly.
your purpose, your passion, your pursuit, the
Hmm.
PPP. Right? There you
Hmm.
go, Chris. Hey, PPP, purpose,
Like that.
passion. Somebody probably already said it, so it's
You
fine.
just said it. Coin it. Write it down. Put it in your book. Coming soon.
Right? Coming soon, right? Purpose, passion, pursuit journal. It's coming. It's on its way.
Hmm.
Just write down your dreams, your goals, right? And then you take
Hmm.
that to someone who can interpret them. I think about,
Hmm.
right? Who was it? Was Joseph. Yeah, Joseph. Right?
Hmm.
He was able to interpret dreams. And
Hmm.
sometimes we look at that in the older sense of the word, but what about the modern? Like write
Hmm.
down your dreams and then take it to someone that you trust, someone that you know
Hmm.
that has business acumen. I'm thinking of right now, particularly one of my good friends, Coco.
Hmm.
She's very good at business. She comes from a family of business owners,
Hmm.
um, right? And yeah, I could talk to her about stuff and say, hey, this is what's happening. Help me align it. My
Hmm.
dad is good with that. I can take it and say, here's
Yeah.
my dream. Interpret this. What is the Lord saying in this? What am I saying? What
Yeah.
is He calling me to in this, right? So stay
Hmm.
spiritual when it comes to this stuff, or you'll burn
Hmm.
out.
Literally, because, and also it's important to have that insight because, when we're in it, we can't really see because we're
You
so
can't really
focused in
see
it.
it.
But
That's so
having the
good.
outside view, like having a colleague, a friend, a parent, whoever it may be, to kind of say, "Hey, I see your blind spots," and because I can't see behind my ears, I really can't.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody behind me, hey, be right there, something right there. Don't do that. You know, like it
Right,
helps to kind of give you
right,
some
right.
perspective because you don't know what
Yes.
you don't know. But someone like a coach
Yeah.
or counselor, a friend, a
Right.
trusted colleague can see your areas of growth, which is why I do love
Mm-hmm.
community. Because I'm like, oh, if I didn't talk to this person, I would never know because I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how I'm being perceived. I'm not sure. I don't know what I can't see. I don't know the holes, the gaps. But if you have an outside view looking up or looking down, like I guess
Yeah, it changes everything, right?
everything is different.
Perspective.
Which is what
Crystal,
therapists do all the time all day
fall,
long.
right? I'm loving our fall colors, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm
me
looking at
too.
the orange and
They
my
actually blend
green.
very, very warm.
Yeah, very warm, very fall-y, right?
hmm Definitely.
All right, so Crystal, we do this every week at 12 o'clock noon.
Yes.
We really go to 12, about 12:30. We went a little over today, but you know.
Mhm.
So check us
Yeah.
out next week. We're gonna post this.
Yes.
We have
We
some,
will.
we're now adding more titles,
hmm
right? So folks can see what they're getting into when they click on the video with us. So yeah, it's good to see everybody. Thanks. We have
Yeah.
Dana. Dina LMSW joined us. Hey, hey. Welcome. We'll see you next week, 12 o'clock
All right.
on
Talk to you
Instagram
then.
Live.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Enjoy your
Crystal.
day.
See you soon,
Mhm.
darling. Have a good day.